Hi everyone, this is Nanama, a student dietitian. Currently, I reside in Cape Coast. I would like to introduce you to Meka Content and Podcast. Meka is a fancy word which literally translates to English as I will say. Meka inspires people who love to read to continue reading and also inspires people who don't enjoy reading to find purpose for reading. I usually follow Meka content on WhatsApp and YouTube. I really like how Meka summarizes trending issues and sometimes historical stories and makes them so easy to comprehend. At Meka, we believe consistent reading with purpose transforms your mindset, career, and life. Subscribe to the Meka Reading Podcast on YouTube for book summaries, engaging discussions, and practical lessons made for busy Ghanaians like you who want to grow.
Welcome to the Meka Reading Podcast. Here, we turn books into tools for personal and professional growth. I am Quame Owusu, your host for this episode. Today, we are diving into a critical issue in African education systems, particularly in Ghana, the practice known as chew and pour. This is where students memorize information and regurgitate it in exams, often without deep understanding. We will unpack why this happens, its consequences, and how students can thrive despite systemic flaws, all backed by solid research. Let's get started. Let's start with the basics. If you went through school in Ghana, chances are you've heard this phrase, chew and pour. It's how many students study. They cram or chew information from textbooks and teacher notes, and then pour it all out during exams, word for word. Sounds familiar? Yeah. This strategy is rooted in survival. You memorize to pass. But here is the thing. It often happens without truly understanding what you are memorizing. Researchers call this surface learning. It's about recall, not reflection. It's widespread because exams like BEC or WASI reward this method. So it becomes the norm, not because students are lazy, but because the system demands it. So why do so many students default to this method? Let's unpack it. First, the exam system itself is designed around recall. Exams like WASI or BEC rarely reward creative or critical thinking. They reward how well you remember what was taught. Second, teachers are under pressure. Imagine managing a class of 80 students. There is no time for debate or project. Teachers often hand out summarized notes to be memorized, not because they want to, but because that's how the system works. Third, resources are limited. Many schools lack enough textbooks, libraries, or internet access. So, students rely on notes, and these notes are built for memorization. Then, there is history and culture. Colonial education systems trained people to obey and remember, not question. That mindset still lingers. In many homes and communities, memorizing facts is still seen as a sign of intelligence. And let's not forget time pressure. With packed syllabi and household responsibilities, students find cramming the most efficient route to exams success. Now, what does this do to students mentally? A lot. Rote learning builds stress and anxiety. You memorize out of fear of failure, fear of disappointing parents. It also lowers confidence. When students are used to copying answers, they start to doubt their ability to think for themselves. Worse still, it kills curiosity. You don't ask why anymore. Just what's the right answer? And most of what you memorize, you forget it right after exams. Yes, you might pass your exam, but not the long term. Students who rely on chew and pour often struggle with real-world applications. They can't analyze, synthesize, or solve unfamiliar problems, the very skills needed in university or the workplace. It also creates a fake sense of success. You think you've mastered a subject because you passed, but in reality, there are huge gaps in understanding. They become trapped in a cycle of memorization without the tools to break free. Let's talk about something that rarely gets mentioned: language. Most African schools teach colonial languages like English or French, but many students don't speak these languages fluently at home. In Ghana, for instance, English is the main medium, but if a student doesn't understand English deeply, they are forced to memorize phrases rather than understand them. So, the language gap becomes another reason why chew and pour feels like the only way. It's tempting to say students are lazy or not serious, but that's unfair. Students are responding rationally to a system that values memory over meaning. Teachers are doing their best under tough conditions, and parents, in many cases, just want their children to succeed, even if it means drilling past questions over and over again. The problem isn't the people, it's the system. Now here is the good news. Students still have agency. These are some practical strategies that can help students succeed without being trapped by rote learning. 1. Pair memorization with active learning. Summarize in your own words. Teach a friend. Use concept maps. For example, don't just memorize a biology term, explain it with a diagram. 2. Use free resources. Even with limited data, you can access YouTube, Khan Academy, or educational WhatsApp channels. These add context to what you are memorizing. 3. Practice thinking. Ask why and how. Reflect on what you are learning. Keep a journal. Debate with peers. 4. Study in groups. Collaborate. Ask each other questions. Turn learning into a conversation, not a monologue. 5. Stay focused on long-term goals. Why are you learning this? What career do you want? Tie your studies to your future dreams, not just your next test. 6. Request change. Ask teachers for more discussions or practical examples. Share resources with classmates. Small steps matter. Now, to wrap up, chew and pour is not a student problem. It's a system problem. But even in a broken system, students can find ways to learn meaningfully, grow intellectually, and prepare for life beyond the exams. If you are a student listening to this, know that your potential goes far beyond what you can memorize. You are capable of understanding, questioning, and creating, even if the system doesn't always reward that. Thanks for tuning in to the Meka Reading Podcast. If you found this helpful, share it with a friend or student who needs to hear this. You can support us by joining the Meka Reading community for just 20 Ghana cedis per month. As a member, you will receive access to our digital library, membership into our reading community on WhatsApp, access to bi-weekly check-in webinars, monthly book reading challenge. You also receive a 7-day reading habit kickstart for new members. To join, kindly reach out via WhatsApp 050-229-3709 or send a message via the email podcastmeka@gmail.com. We look forward to welcoming you.